Hello there, small city folk. Another one from the year 209 in Skyrim Modlist. Now that I've covered all the big cities, it's time to talk about all the small cities in the same video, or as I like to call them, the cities without load doors. And honestly, the line between cities and towns is very blurred in Skyrim, since in vanilla, it was scaled down to the lowest possible degree. I mean, it was 2011. In newer Bethesda games like Starfield, you get huge sprawling cities, and in really old ones, you get low-res, extremely sprawling cities, like Daggerfall. Now let's see if I can fit all this into one video. Hey, if you want to go straight to the mods, go to...
We're here! Look, Mom, all the old buildings. Wonder how old they are. And the ruins? Ruins are cool. Oh, well, can we go inside the college now?
Welcome to the College of Winterhold.
Now hold on, kid. We're just here to visit Val Serrano. I don't know if you're ready to enter the college proper yet.
Oh, come on, Mom, look, I can cast Firebolt.
Well done indeed.
Huh. I forget that the entry is so easy. Well, I guess a tour couldn't hurt. Just follow Feralda.
Nice, thanks, Mom.
Oh yeah, Feralda, I noticed even Winterhold's been building. I'd talk to the Jarl, but honestly, I don't even know who the Jarl of Winterhold is.
Before I start, I do want to say a couple of things about the cities I covered in the past. Another Riften mod that meshes very well with Riften, with a Y, North and South districts, and the back entrance added by Cutting Room Floor is Daggercross Alley. It sits right behind Mistfell Keep, and I didn't notice it before. Sometimes you gotta have a real eye to dig for these things. Also, for all the cities that have load doors, pseudo load doors for walled cities allows you to just jump over the city walls however you see fit, and boom, you're in the city, which is the next best thing to using the compatibility nightmare that is open cities. This only really applies to the cities with different zones for their interiors. You know, all the ones I've already covered. Whiterun, Solitude, Windhelm, Riften, and Markarth. It might be affected by mods that move the walls. I would say there are 5 small cities, except I barely count Raven Rock. I had Raven Rock Reborn, and I'm staying with it. It adds big walls outside the city, transforming a relatively small port town into a relatively small port town that has walls. The walls do look pretty good, though. I admit I almost never go to Solstheim. Okay, next Falkreath. If I had to pick a favorite small city, it would probably be Falkreath. The only thing special about it being the fact that it has a huge graveyard. But I feel like the rest of the small cities are extremely boring. And Winterhold gets completely overshadowed by the College of Winterhold. The town itself is nothing to write home about. As part of this series, I took a look at all the city overhauls I had and looked for where I could expand them, where I actually wanted to expand them, and compared them with newer overhauls out there. Though I did actually like the look of Redback's Falkreath, I just really like the architecture of Cities of the North. And it changes all the interiors. They look great. In fact, so much so that it's my base for several of the small cities. It gives Falkreath the old Nordic quality. It used to be the seat of an empire, you know, a long time ago. Really nothing beats Cities of the North for Falkreath. You might also try Cities of the North light if it's too much for you. Falkreath Hauntings also adds some ghosts and wisps and such, and additional happenings in the city with the biggest graveyard. Additionally, since Northern Bathhouses doesn't cover Falkreath, I added Falkreath Bathhouse. And Falkreath Smelter Cities of the North adds a smelter. Speaking of not interesting, with Morthal I already had Cities of the North beforehand. I got recommended Fortified Morthal, and after comparing the two, found that there's a patch so you can have them both. It definitely gives it a unique character, having the Nordic buildings and walls. To add some more trimming to the area, I added Morthal Barrow, which is immersive because it gives an abandoned barrow with a quest, but I might drop it due to lack of slots. These city overhauls are starting to take up a lot of room, man. Also, Morthal Wares adds a general store, and Northern Bathhouses, of course. Skyrim Sewers is not going to get any love today because all these are towns without that infrastructure. I imagine they just poop in the marsh. Can't smell much worse, am I right? So Dawnstar is a little different in that I chose not to use Cities of the North in any way. I do like that so far I've had Cities of the North, but I've had something else on top of it to make them have at least a little bit of individuality. But Dawnstar is completely different. This is mainly because I used Kingdom of the Pale. It's essentially vanilla style houses, but way more of them, Vanilla Skyrim includes 5 big cities, 5 small cities, 8 towns, 4 orc strongholds, and a large number of what could be called hamlets or minor settlements. We'll get way more into this in the new towns video, but I added, at this point, 24 new towns or upgrades from smaller settlements, with 5 more on a short list to test out. Kingdom of the Pale adds or upgrades 6 towns, and is a Dawnstar overhaul on top of that. Like I said, it's largely vanilla houses, but way more of them with an extended dock area, and the Jarl's Hall is behind a small wall. As I mentioned in a previous video, having Dawnstar different from Morthal, which is different from Falkreath, which are all different from the big cities, I really enjoy. It makes you wonder who built it when, or who rebuilt it because of what. Finally, Winterhold. I noticed most videos like this say, use this mod, and then they skip right to the college. I'm going to actually give Winterhold a turn. In ages past, Winterhold was the capital of Skyrim, and it doesn't at all look like it. At the very least, there should be some collapsed buildings or something, because the reason Winterhold is so small in story is because there was a huge collapse of this area. Now, I do have a huge dilemma, because I love the castle from Cities of the North Winterhold. The man does really good work. He built a path up on the hill and a huge castle up there. And that's why it's what I've had forever. But there's Winterhold Restored, which adds an entire city to Winterhold. Now, if I was a great modder with a lot of time, I would find a way to strip out the castle from Cities of the North and then post it on Nexus so that other people could use it with other overhauls. But I'm not. However, I did start browsing and noticed there are a lot of add-ons for Cities of the North. So I went with those, because they make more logical sense with what I already had. The alternative being Winterhold got destroyed again and they had to rebuild it entirely. Cities of the North Winterhold expanded, adds a bathhouse, a guard barracks, and a couple houses. With patches, I was also able to add Cities of the North Blacksmith, Winterhold Docks, ancient Winterhold walls, and expanded ruins. So it essentially gave me what I wanted. I do admit, I rarely spend any time in Winterhold other than to get to the college. By contrast, I do spend a lot of time in Whiterun, Windhelm, Solitude, and Riften. Not really Markarth though. So it makes a lot of sense to build them out really huge. And because I guess I mentioned Jorvaskr, I can mention the college here. I go with Ultimate College, which joins together Immersive College and Obscures College. So I covered that a lot faster than I thought I was going to. And actually before now, my towns were mostly vanilla. So I'm going to rapid fire the towns at you. Riverwood definitely got the most love. I tested out a few versions of Riverwood, but I ultimately went with Schlitzohr's because it's got both a unique feel and it's got quests and it meshes with the Apothec Guild really well from Whiterun Valley Hold expansion. Schlitzohr. I'm going to mention his work a lot more as I do the new towns video because he's got a ton of new towns and they all look really good and add a quest or two. After much deliberation, I decided on Rodrik's Dragon Bridge. It's got a unique building style that looks a lot more like modern cottages. It kind of makes me think of Solitude, which makes a lot of sense because it's right next to Solitude. Also, because of the new ESL size limit, it's able to be compacted because it's just shy of 2,000 records. I love being able to compact things. It makes me feel like I just drank a diet soda. 0 calories. All the taste. I just want to know that my favorite thing about this is what it did to the Four Shields Tavern. It looks really good.
Well, damn, that's the Black Dragon Circuit was talking about.
I don't know if this really counts, but it's listed on UASP, and the only show in town is Helgen Reborn. I mean, I guess alternate perspective technically gives you a Helgen that gets destroyed 5 minutes after you start the game. Anyway, say what you want about Helgen Reborn. I'm going to replay it eventually. It just allows you to rebuild Helgen. Some of the quests are a little, repetitive, but it's nice. I like it. For Shore Stone, I went with Thanedom of Shore Stone. It's in the same style as Kingdom of the Pale, made by the same guy. Gives it walls, more buildings, vanilla style. Check it out. Karthwasten, I went with the great town of Karthwasten. By the description, it's got a more Breton style of house. I just like that it looks good and looks different. Also, it can be compacted. Just remember when you're in Xedit, have the bug fixes and patches loaded with it, so that all the records that get changed with those too. With Skaal Village, I went with Skaal Village Overhaul. I pretty much never go there, even more so than Raven Rock. Ivarstead, I went with Thuldor's Ivarstead. Based on Cities of the North, it just looked better than everything else out there, I thought. And also able to be compacted. Also remember when you're compacting that some of these things have new cells, and it has to be the last thing that's modifying the new cell. So watch out for that on your patches. Or don't compact it if you don't feel like messing with that. And finally, Rorikstead. I left completely vanilla. Gotta have a little bit of the original architecture to compare the new stuff to. But really it's because Skullsgeld from Whiterun Valley Hold expansion is right next to it. And it really seems like an addition to the town. And adding any new overhaul tends to run the chance of Nabmesh's crossing. So I figured I'd just not mess with it. I did add additional quests to Rorikstead though. And I guess that's it for today. Upcoming is new towns, some sort of gameplay video, and of course more of the Stolen Years. Thanks for watching.